testing the audio, testing the audio. Very nice, very nice. Hello everybody, and welcome to the August 2026 monthly update. Been pretty good, pretty good month. It's been a pretty good month, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't dream of doing that. Guess we'll just start with things I've done this month. The only video I've uploaded this month is ranking every Beatles plus solo Beatle album, in which I rank every Beatles plus solo Beatle album. Brackets that I've heard, closed brackets. It's my first tier list video. I've been watching them for years. I've been enjoying them for years. I've only just made one though. And I intend to make more of them. I'm thinking like one a month, just so that I have a bit of content on this channel, because otherwise, like, I don't ever upload here really, aside from like Christmases and birthdays and occasional other times when I can be bothered to do something. So like one video a month will be, even though it's not much, it'll be more than I've had here. So next month, we'll just move straight on to plans for next month because it segues very nicely. Next month, I'm planning on doing another tier list video where I rank every season of Doctor Who that I've seen, which is not even that actually, just every season of Doctor Who that I've seen more than once, because I can actually like judge them more fairly. So it's going to be every season of classic Doctor Who, and then series 1 to 6 of the modern series, and like specials and films and stuff like that. So that's going to be that. And because from series 7 onwards, I've only seen them once, and they're not very good. So, and then obviously from Chibnall Whittaker onwards, I haven't seen anything. So that's that. Now on to things I've watched this month. I have watched a small number of very, very good films this month, beginning with probably the best of the bunch, Eyes Without a Face from 1960. This is a 1960 French horror film from 1960 that was released in 1960. I very much like it. It's one that I've been intending to watch since 1960. No, it's one that I've been intending to watch for quite some time. I've seen very good things about it. You know, it's a great, classic thing that I've heard a lot about, and I've only just gotten around to watching it, and it's bloody good. It's a bloody good film. I like the film. It's a good film. It's a nice film. Film. Anyway, I liked it. It's a horror film. It's about this woman who gets in a car accident and her face gets all damaged, so her dad kidnaps people and cuts off their faces to put it onto her face. It's less of a B movie than it sounds. It sounds very much like a B movie, but it's very tastefully, elegantly done. It's French, so Digby won't like it, but it's a very elegant, very good film. Then I watched a 1979 Czechoslovakian fantasy film called The Ninth Heart. This is directed by whatever his name is, whom I can't remember, who directed such classics as The Cremator and the 1978 Beauty and the Beast, which I really, really like. The Cremator is also very good, of course, but that Beauty and the Beast film is really great. And this film was shot on some of the same sets as that one, like the castle set. To be fair, I couldn't tell when watching. It's a fantasy film just like that, and it's a very similar vibe. This is a bit more comedic. There's more comedic moments in The Ninth Heart than there is in Beauty and the Beast. But yeah, I really liked it. It's not. I don't think it's as good as Beauty and the Beast, and I also don't think it's as good as The Cremator. So of the three films I've seen by this guy whose name I can't remember, it's probably my least favorite of the three. But I still really, really enjoyed it. Um, Again, I don't really know what else to say. There's an invisibility cloak in it, like 40 years before Harry Potter. So that's pretty good. Well, it's not 40 years, is it? 1979 to 2001. What is that? I can math. 80 to 2000 is 20 years. So 22. 22 years before Harry Potter, there's an invisibility cloak in this film. And that's pretty cool. Then I decided to watch a few films. The idea was to watch 3 films by Voy. No, how I'd googled how to pronounce his name. Wojciech, I think it's Wojciech Haas, who is the director of The Hourglass Sanatorium, which is one of the greatest films ever made. And my idea was I wanted to watch his first film, his middle sort of best known film, and then his final film. I couldn't find his final film, which is the something of someone. I can't remember what it was. 1988. I could only find one copy of it online, and there was no subtitles, so that kind of does. Oh yeah, I remember. It's the Tribulations of Balthazar something. Tribulations of Balthazar something from 1988. I couldn't find. I could find one copy of it online in great quality HD, lovely looking, but no subtitles. So obviously I can't understand a word that's being said. But I did manage to watch his first and middle film. His first film is The Noose from 1958. The only copy of it I could find with subtitles is in not very good quality, and that's the one that's linked there. I downloaded it and used a sprinkle of AI to upscale it, so it's just a little bit better. The copy that I watched is just the tiniest little bit better quality than the version that's linked there. But I'm not willing to upload it somewhere and then put the link there just so you guys can watch it. There are AI upscalers on the internet. You can download that version there and do the same thing that I did and get a slightly better quality version. And actually, it's a really good film. I mean, it's not like a fantasy or a weird surrealist anything. It's completely set in reality. It's a very tragic film, actually. I mean, when you combine the fact that it's a day in the life of an alcoholic, and I don't just mean a light alcoholic, I mean a severe alcoholic, and the title is The Noose, you can probably figure out for yourself how it ends. And it's kind of, that's how it's going to end from like the very beginning. So it's not what happens. The mystery of the film is not what happens, it's how does it get there. And it is a very tragic film, but a really great film. Very, very good acting in it. It doesn't particularly show off the direction very well. I mean, fantasy is a much better genre for showing off direction. I mean, it's a very quiet film, but I really enjoyed it. It's a really good film. I mean, I enjoyed it as much as you can enjoy a tragic story. And then I watched part 1 of the Saragossa manuscript. Now, that's one long 3-hour film, but it is very conveniently divided into part 1 and part 2. I watched part 1, and the thing is, I did really enjoy it, but I just couldn't be bothered to watch part 2 yet. So when I eventually do watch part 2, I will talk about it there. But that's a film about these 2 soldiers, or the kind of overarching thing is about these 2 soldiers. You want to see them at the very beginning, who they're in the middle of a battle. I think it's the Napoleonic Wars, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't really have any impact on the film, what specific war it is, but I think it's the Napoleonic Wars. And these 2 soldiers from opposing sides meet in this house, and they find this manuscript, and it's about, like, their relatives. Like the great-grandfathers of them, or just one of them, I think, but I can't, bollocks. And then it tells a story of like one of their dads, and then one of his dad's dad, and it's like it goes back through the generations, and of this really surrealist tale. Not as surrealist as the Hourglass Sanatorium, and also I don't think it's as good as the Hourglass Sanatorium, but it's, it was very good, but it's just, when I watched it, I intended to sit down there and watch it all in one go, because I've watched films that are 3 hours long before, not very often, but I have done it. But I was so tired, and then in the middle, when it says end of part one, you think, well, I'm going to take the opportunity to stop here while I can. So I will eventually get around to watching the second half, but it's probably going to be a little while before that happens. But yeah, overall, if I had to rank the 3 films of his that I've seen so far, Hourglass Sanatorium, I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be shifted from the position it's in because it's such a fantastic film. Then, so that's number 1, and then The Noose is number 2, and then the Saragossa Manuscript, part 1, I can only talk for part 1 at the moment, is number 3. That is all the films that I've watched this month. Then on to albums, and also I'll talk briefly about the books I've read. Haven't finished anything. I've just read a little bit more of Doctor Who and the 10th Planet, so I'm not even going to get up my statistics to show you, but I have still read some of it this month, but I haven't finished it. I just haven't been in a reading mood. I've all read out for this year. I read 180 days in a row, so I think you can forgive me for 20 books, which is more books than I've ever read any year before. So I think you can forgive me for having a bit of a break. Then on to albums that I have listened to this month. I've listened to 3 David Bowie albums, 3 Captain Beefheart albums, 1 Faust album, and 1 Simon and Garfunkel album. We'll start with David Bowie, of course. I listened to 3 bloody good albums by David Bowie. I want to go through his stuff mostly in order. I have skipped his first album because I've kind of worked out the perfect order to listen to everything in, and I just wasn't in the mood for listening for that kind of 60s pop, orchestral stuff that I have heard is what is on that album. So instead, I listened to Space Oddity from 1969, which David Bowie himself considered his first proper album. He kind of disowned his real debut. So I listened to Space Oddity. A lot of people rate it quite low, but I really, really love this album. Particularly, I mean, Space Oddity is a great song, but I don't think it's the best song on the album. The best song on this album is Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed. It's the second track. It's 6 minutes and 53 seconds, at least on this particular copy that's on YouTube. It does include a little hidden track at the end, so that obviously extends it. I think the actual song is only about 6 minutes, but that extra 53 seconds is the little bonus track on the end. I think it's called Don't Sit Down. Don't sit down. Don't sit down. That's how it goes, approximately. And then the other best song on the album is Janine. That's my second favourite song on the album. My third favourite song on the album is God Knows I'm Good. And then my fourth favourite song on the album is Space Oddity. So there are 3 songs on the album better than Space Oddity. Letter to Hermione is worthy of mention because it is Ricky Gervais's favourite song, or at least it was during his, when he was doing the XFM show. That was not just his favourite David Bowie song, but his favourite song. It's my least favourite song on the album. Again, it might just be that thing of Ricky Gervais said it was really, really great. I tend to agree with his taste in music, and so, he puts it really high up, and then it doesn't live up to it. So it's my least favourite song on the album. But yeah, a really, really great album. I really like it. Even the songs that I didn't mention there are mostly good. There's a couple Wild Eyed Boy from Free Cloud. It's kind of him doing a bit of a Bob Dylan impression, and not a particularly impressive one, if I'm being totally honest. But most of the songs are really good. An Occasional Dream, Memory of a Free Festival, Signet Committee. They're all, they're kind of more atmospheric ones that you kind of, I would never listen to any of them in isolation. But as part of an album, they work really well. But yeah, I really love that album, but definitely the best song is Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed, which, to be honest, I think has become my favourite David Bowie song. I really, really love that song. So yeah, if you can only listen to one song, Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed, my favourite David Bowie song. Then, from 1970, The Man Who Sold the World. of course, has that song on it, which is most famously covered by Nirvana, which I hate because they literally just remade the song like beat for beat. It's an exact copy of the David Bowie song, except it's Kurt Cobain instead of David Bowie singing. So one of the worst covers of all time because it's just I hate it so much because they literally just copied it exactly. They didn't even. It's not even like a Jimi Hendrix, bloody All Along the Watchtower situation where they completely transformed the song. Like Jimi Hendrix All Along Watchtower and Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower, aside from the lyrics, are entirely different songs which do not have the slightest thing to do with each other. And Jimi Hendrix's, I mean, I don't even like Bob Dylan's version at all, really. But when Nirvana covered The Man Who Sold the World, they just remade the song exactly. And they get all the credit for it. When you Google The Man Who Sold the World, the first thing that comes up is Nirvana. So they get all the credit for it. Hundreds, thousands of people think it's a Nirvana song, and they literally just copied it exactly from David Bowie. So I hate them for that. I mean, I don't like Nirvana anyway. I think they make very, very crap music. But also for their theft, right? I mean, it's mainly their fans, because as from what I've heard, they were very open about the fact that it was a cover. But their fans, or in the fact that they listen to Nirvana at all, tell you that they're not the smartest people in the world. But anyway, but this is a great. This is a 10 out of 10 album. The Man Who Sold the World. There is not a track on it that I dislike. Every single track on the album is fantastic. If I had to do like my top 3 songs from the album, I think "Save Your Machine" is number 1. That's like tells like the story of like an rogue AI type thing, and it's very, very aged well. Didn't put those words in the right. It's aged very, very well. It's about the president of the United States, who's called President Joe. So that aged very well, didn't it? President Joe puts an AI in charge of the world. That's the story of the song. Aged very well in multiple areas. Not knocking President Joe in comparison to his contemporaries, because he's just as crap as all of them. President Don is no better, obviously. But I just like the fact that President Joe is a character in this song, and then there is a President Joe in real life like 40 years later. That's just... I like it. What can I say? It's 50 years later. Yeah. 70 to 20. 50 years. Wow. But yeah, so Save Your Machine, and then Running Gun Blues, and then The Man Who Sold the World. I think are the best 3 songs in that order. The Width of a Circle, the opener, gets an honourable mention as well, because that is a blooming heavy. It's a heavy album all over, but The Width of a Circle is probably the heaviest track on it. A lot of people have compared it to Black Sabbath in the sound. I'm not sure I hear that. I'm not sure it's quite that heavy, because I can bear to listen to this, whereas most of Black Sabbath I can't, because I'm not really a heavy metal person, to be honest. I like their first album, because it's more blues than heavy metal, and I like Volume 4, just because of how diverse it is, and there's a lot of stuff on it that isn't heavy metal at all. So I like those 2 albums. I've also listened to Paranoid and Master of Reality, neither of which I like all that much. There's a couple of songs on them that I like, but as albums, not a particularly big fan. But that is The Man Who Sold the World, and then Hunky Dory, which is the one that I had heard the most songs from, because I'd heard 2. You can probably guess what those 2 are. Changes and Life on Mars, both of which are fantastic songs. But other songs on the album which are bloody good are Oh You Pretty Things, Kooks, and Queen Bitch. Those are probably the 3 of the best songs on the album. I can't be bothered to rate them. But again, this is another album where every single track, I wouldn't say it's a 10 out of 10. I don't think the album is as good overall as bloody whatever it's called, the literally last one that I talked about, which I've just forgotten, Man Who Sold the World. But I still added every single track on the album to my music that I like playlist. But after all, it's music that I like, not music that I love, you know? So I like every track on the album, but there are some like 8-Line Poem and Quicksand are on the lower end of the songs on this album, but I still like them. I like every song on the album. But I'd say if I had to rank the three, Man Who Sold the World 1, and then it's complicated with Space Odyssey and Hunky Dory, because Hunky Dory, I think, like, the worst songs on Hunky Dory are better than the worst songs on Space Oddity. But the best songs on Space Oddity are better than the best songs on Hunky Dory. I think the contrast is better. So I'd say overall, as an album, I probably prefer Space Oddity to Hunky Dory, even though the lows are lower on Space Oddity, but the highs are also higher. So I think, I'd probably go with Space Oddity overall as a more enjoyable album for me personally than Hunky Dory. And The Man Who Sold the World is better than both, in my opinion. And also, along with these, I didn't link it here because it wasn't my first time listening to it, but I also re-listened to Ziggy Stardust or The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and The Spiders from Mars, and that album has gone up in my estimation as well. I always quite liked it, but only like a few tracks. But now I like pretty much every track on the album. There's still a couple that are lower down, but overall, I would put it. I'd still probably put it below Hunky Dory, to be honest. So I think of the 4 David Bowie albums that I've listened to so far, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust is my least favourite of the 4. That's not to say it's a bad album. It's obviously not a bad album. It's a fantastic album. But I think it is personally, for me, as speaking as an individual, the least enjoyable of the 4 David Bowie albums that I've heard. I am going to, next month, in fact, I'll probably start today, because I've really, like, each of these albums, I've re-listened to several times this month. I've really been on a David Bowie sort of kick, but obviously I'm only allowed to listen. I mean, it's my rules. I could break the rules, but I've only allowed myself to listen to 3 new albums by anyone a month. So that's what happened. So I'm probably going to immediately resume David Bowie next month, possibly starting today, with Aladdin Fan, followed by Pin-Ups, followed by Diamond Dogs. Diamond Bogs? David Bowie probably could afford to sit on a Diamond Bog, but I don't imagine he's the type. Elton John absolutely would sit on a Diamond Bog, I imagine. But yes. So those are the 3 albums that I think I'm going to listen to next month. Well, I mean, I know I am, really. Then I listened to Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band. Now, again, as with David Bowie, I re-listened to the albums I'd already heard. So I re-listened to Safe as Milk. Brilliant album. Still the best Captain Beefheart album, even including these 3. Re-listened to Strictly Personal, which has gone up in my estimation. I still enjoyed it the first time, but I enjoyed it even more the second time. I like pretty much every track on it now. And Troutmaster Replica, which I almost hated the first time. I now really enjoy it. I still don't like the spoken word poetry bits. I'm still not giving those, but I pretty much like every of the actual songs on the album. I quite like now. Still only heard it twice in total. Again, on further re-listens, I'll probably enjoy it more, and eventually I may even get to enjoy the poetry bits. I doubt it, but possibly. So that's that. But then I listened to Lick My Decals Off Baby from 1970. The worst album I've ever heard, or it close to the estimate. It's weird because the music is so similar to like the song-based stuff on Troutmaster Replica. But to my ears, they were just lacking the energy that they had on that. It might be because this was my first time hearing these songs, whereas it was my second time hearing those songs. So maybe that had something to do with it. But it didn't have any of the energy of Troutmaster Replica for me. It was just boring. It's just a boring album. I just, 3 tracks into it, I was bored, and I had to sit there through the whole thing. It really, really deathly boring album. Really hate it. The worst Captain Beefheart album that I've heard out of the 6 I've heard. Then Mirror Man from 1971, which unsurprisingly, I still said unsurprisingly, considering that it was recorded during the same sessions as Strictly Personal, or it's actually the first version of Strictly Personal was a re-recorded version of this, because they moved record labels, and their record label kept a hold of the tapes, so they had to re-record it. But it's like other tracks from that same time period. And again, just like straight blues stuff, no weird stuff. I mean, other than Captain Beefheart's vocals, which are of course weird as always. But it's a really good album. I prefer Strictly Personal to Mirror Man, personally. I like the weird production. I know Captain Beefheart himself didn't like all the like the phasing and reverb and stuff that was added by the producer. I really like it. And obviously Mirror Man didn't have any of that. Because it was just like the raw studio stuff. But it's still a really, really good album, and I really enjoyed it. But I think I just overall I preferred whatever the blooming frick I said before, Strictly Personal. And then I listened to... Now, I've credited it as Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band. It was originally released as just Captain Beefheart, but the Magic Band is still on it, so I don't know what that was all about. It's the only Captain Beefheart album officially credited to just Captain Beefheart, but the Magic Band are all on it, so I've credited it here as Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band, because just to keep everything nice and neat. The Spotlight Kid from 1972. This is a lot of people's least favourite Captain Beefheart album, including everybody in the Magic Band. They all hated it. I really liked it. Let's go through the tracks and see what's... Because I can't... Again, I've only listened to it once, but... I'm Gonna Booglerize You, Baby, and White Jam. Did I add that? Yeah, I added White Jam. There's a couple of songs I didn't like. I know I didn't like the title track, The Spotlight Kid. And there's another one that I think I didn't like. It might be... Yeah, There Ain't No Santa Claus on the Evening Stage. Those two, The Spotlight Kid and There Ain't No Santa Claus on the Evening Stage, I didn't like. But every other track on the album I really liked. So that's all I can say, really. I liked the album. Not as good as, I'd say, overall, where would I put it? I'd probably put it, out of the 6 albums I've heard, I would probably put it 5th place. Lick My Decals Off, Baby is still at the bottom because I didn't like it. But all the other Captain Beefheart albums I like. If I had to rank them all, from favourite to least favourite, Safe as Milk is still the best, followed by Strictly Personal, followed by Mirror Man, followed by Troutmask Replica, followed by The Spotlight Kid, and then Lick My Decals Off, Baby, last place, because it was crap. Again, maybe on re-listens I'll like it more, but I quite frankly doubt it. I mean, they sounded bored recording it. Apparently that was Captain Beefheart himself, his favourite album, or at least that's what he said. But, of course, quite famously, he spouted a lot of rubbish in interviews. You watch him on David Letterman or something, and he's just spouting rubbish the whole time, talking utter nonsense. So him saying it was his favourite album might have been a joke. That's what I would guess. But I just hated it. They sounded bored recording it, and I was even more bored listening to it. So that's definitely the worst. Then on to Faust, their debut album from 1971, experimental German rock group. Now, the interesting thing is they have been described by themselves and by other people as the German Beatles, whereas to my ears, they're more the German mothers of invention. There's 3 tracks on this album: Why Don't You Eat Carrots, Meadow Meal, and Misfortune. I don't like the first track, but I really, really liked the second 2 tracks. And it is just like it is like the mothers of invention. The first track is like the kind of mothers of invention music that I don't like, and the second 2 are like the kind of mothers of invention music that I do like. So, for whatever reason, but definitely will be re-listening. I will be re-listening to it at some point, but definitely will be listening to more Faust in the future. But I think it's going to be a similar situation to The Residents, where just occasionally, when I'm in the mood for something on the more weird end, I will listen to one. They're not someone I'm going to be listening to on the regular, but when I'm in the mood for something a bit more weird, I'll pop on a Faust album, just like I'll pop on an album by The Residents when I'm in the mood for something more unusual. Fantastic album cover as well. Brilliant album cover. And then the final album that I've listened to, and I listened to this on vinyl because I got it on vinyl, but it was my first time listening to it, Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Now, annoyingly, my copy has a big scratch across the whole of side 1. It's a bit annoying. Like for the quieter moments in like Bridge Over Troubled Water and some of the other tracks here. Hello, Digby, my friend. Welcome to the live stream. I'm at the moment talking about Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. My copy has a big scratch across side one, so every 33 times a second there was this big... Excuse me, my cats are fighting. I need to go and deal with them. Sorry about that. My cats are very, very naughty. Best songs on this, Bridge Over Troubled Water and Cecilia, I had already heard. The box set I'd already heard, but not this version. I've heard their live version on Saturday Night Live, and I prefer it to this version. There's this really weird thing that they do on this song, like in the middle of the verses. There's what sounds to me like what's it called? A jaw harp or a Jew's harp. That's the more offensive title, so that's the one I prefer to use. The Jew's harp, which is this little weird metal mouth thing that seems to go off like really bizarrely loudly in the middle of the verses, and it completely takes me out of the song. So I don't like that version. Bob Dylan's version is better, and their live version that they did on Saturday Night Live is the best version of it. But as for the songs I hadn't heard before, Keep the Customer Satisfied was really good. That's probably the best song on the album. Baby Driver is really good as well. And I can't really recall any. Bye Bye Love is good, but as it was live, the audience know it. You can barely hear them. The audience is so loud on that recording. And George Harrison's version of the song is better anyway, in my opinion. But yeah, that is that. So overall, if I could recommend only one album of those, I really don't know. Like, the David Bowie ones are the best, but Man Who Sold the World is good. But again, going back, if I can only recommend one song from all these albums, David Bowie, Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed, the second track off the Space Oddity album, is the one I would recommend. If I can only recommend one film that I've watched here for you to watch, it would be Eyes Without a Face. Digby, I did mention this earlier, but you weren't here yet. It is a French film, so I know you will probably not, be willing, but if you could put, if you could put your Francophobia just down just for an hour and a half while you watch this film, it is really, really good. But yes, having said all that, as you are one to do, Digby, you have joined right at the end of the live stream, but it's very good to see you. I can't see you. Really, not from here. Very, very small icon there. Pink waving hand to you too, my friend. Hopefully we can do some live streams at some point when my computer... I mean, that Minecraft one was supposed to be my triumphant return to live streaming, and then my computer feces is all over my face. But we'll see if I can sort something out. I might just have to have less things going on my computer while we do it. I don't know. But anyway, that is all for this time. Hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you've had a good August. Hope you have a good September. I'm going to be going on a small holiday in September. It won't affect the channel, or it shouldn't. To a place where I know that they have some vinyl record shops. I'm not an American, so I don't know why I said the word stores there. Some vinyl record places. I'm hoping to get some of them. And as I mentioned earlier, but again, you might have missed, I'll just reiterate it here. Next month, there will be the first single from the next Moid album. That will be going up next month. I haven't quite decided on which song it's going to be yet. I have half the album recorded already, so I have like 6 songs to choose from, but I haven't decided which one it's going to be yet. I think I like there's 2 that it might be, and I think I know which one it's going to be, but that's why I'm not telling you what it is now, because I could not be saying the right one. So the first single from the next Moid album will be going up, and also me ranking every season of Doctor Who from season 1 in 1963 all the way up to series 6 from 2011, I think that was, or 2012. That is that. So that will be next month. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you then. And good build. Whatever that means. Gewild. Bring flash.